Well, welcome back to the Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Media Day here in downtown St. Louis. We're at the Inner Center. That's Casey Alexander, the Belmont Bruins head coach. And after 1 year in the league, you and I have talked about this before. You learned a lot that first year just about the league. You didn't need to learn basketball, but you learned a lot about the league.
Well, we had to learn how basketball was played in the league because it was different. But yeah, it was a tremendous learning experience for us. I mean, an awesome year. Much more aware now than we were, but also a bigger fan of the league than I was even before. I knew it was traditions with a lot of good teams, coaches, and players, but I believe that even more so now, having gone through it for a year.
You guys are unique in that you recruit younger players. Like in the portal-driven year, you're not averse to that. You've got some portal guys, but you've maintained kind of that same strategy at least so far, and you've got a ton of young talent. Just talk about that philosophy.
Well, we'll hold on to that philosophy as long as we can. It's been the secret to our success over the last 20 years is just taking high school players and developing them over 4 or 5 years in the case of a red shirt. And that model is severely tested right now. I mean, it's much more difficult. I'm not sure it's the right one, but for now, it's the right one for us. And so we're always going to recruit high school kids. We'll replace seniors with seniors, and we've got some good ones. You're right. We had some good freshmen last year. I think all 4 of our freshmen that we brought in will be good players in the Valley as well. And so I'm excited about that part of it.
Do you think fans, I'm kind of a purist, right? As a fan, I think that's the way to do it. Develop players and all that. Do you think your fan base gets that?
Well, it's easier said than done, and definitely our fan base gets that. I don't think I think we'd lose some if we tried a different model and held out and we've had turnover, but it's been graduates. We've graduated 10 guys in the last 2 years, and then when you throw a portal guy or 2 in there, there's been a lot of change. We only have 1 player on our team now, Isaiah Walker, who was here 2 years ago, and so we're it's a lot of new faces, but for graduation more so than portal.
I'm glad you brought him up. I just think he's going to have a big year for you. Talk about Isaiah.
I hope you're right. I assure you, I hope you're right. I mean, he's a real steady, stable piece for a coach. I mean, he gets his job right on both ends of the floor. He understands what we're trying to do. And so I feel like, we've got a lot of talent, especially that he can be a real glue guy, a real role player. We've talked to him about some other examples of that from this league and just in general, and he's embracing that. So I would agree with you in a sense that I think he'll have a really good year.
Your foreign trip, what was good for you guys? There's the stuff that coaches always tell me about continuity and friendship and all that. What were the highlights for you?
It was all good. I mean, we loved the trip. We're really grateful we got to do it. Grateful that we got to take some people that probably wouldn't be able to do something like that on their own. And then, and you just throw it all into the big pile, and it's all good. I mean, from all the things you said, I mean, getting time together with your players. We had several parents that went on the trip with us, and just to get to experience something that's new and different and culturally different. It was a great, it accelerates things for our team for sure, getting the practices and getting the extra games. But that was not my concern on that trip. But it was a great trip overall.
I gave you a hard time earlier today about rooting for the Cubs over the Cardinals, but here you are in St. Louis. You need to be more politically correct when you're in the Gateway City. Where's that Cub background for you?
You know what? Well, like a lot of people my age, just growing up and having a chance to watch games at 110 on WGN with Harry Carey and Steve Stone, how it started for me. Great respect for the Cardinals. I have no sure no lack of understanding. What a great franchise this has been for a long, long time. Probably the best.
So Cade was named to the all-conference team. So just talk about his game and how he, what you saw early on, but, getting in there and then what you've seen him, how he's growing.
Well, he is growing, which I think is the most important part of it. He works really, really hard, very serious about his game and is in the gym a lot, but working on the right things. He's a really mature player. I think that's what allowed him to get off to such a good start last year as a freshman. It's one thing to have a good year as a freshman, but it was remarkable the consistency he played with literally from the first game through the last, and how his numbers were pretty impressive from start to finish. But he's a much better player in every phase of the game today than he was last time we were here in March for the Valley tournament.
I know you guys were on the short end of this, but your game with Indiana State last year at this tournament in this building was as good, fun. It just was such an amazing display of basketball. And I know you came out on the wrong end of it, the south end of it. But could you, in the middle of a game like that, can you sit back and enjoy it?
Well, it was an amazing display of offensive basketball. I'm not sure either one of us won any defensive awards that night, but yeah, I mean, I appreciated it just for the ebb and flow of it, and how it was so back and forth with a lot of really high level plays and performances and so forth. And so that's what it's all about, and the way I remember it is somebody loses every game that's played and somebody wins it in our sport. So we just happened to be on the wrong end that night.
Well, listen, defense, I mean, what's his name? Cooper Neese is hitting 40-footers. You ain't defending that anyway.
Well, yeah, we did all we could. That's for sure. You just tip your hat and move on, right?
As you look forward just into this year, second year through the league, and what are the kind of the key pieces you've taken away from last season that will help you guys be just more successful this year?
Well, I think we're much more prepared for how the game is played in this league. I don't know if that's from a roster standpoint, but just the mentality of it all, and just the grind of it all. I mean, every league has its own challenges and conference, what conference you're in or what level you're playing in, but the Valley was a different league for us. I mean, the defensive minded nature of a lot of coaches in this league, the toughness of the teams that are in this league, the way that it's officiated was a huge change for us. That took us a lot of adaptation. Then I think we'll be so much more prepared for that. It'd be a lot less whining on my part and a lot more, hey, you know what you're supposed to do. Let's go get it done this time.
Appreciate your time. Best of luck this year.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's Casey Alexander, the head coach of the Belmont Bruins. We'll be back with more interviews here from the Ice Center in just a minute. You're watching the Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Media Day right here on ValleyHoopsInsider.com.